Just before I get into the details, I know Suraj touched on this earlier on, but if you've been with Jadu for a while, you'll be more than familiar with our accessibility mission. But in case you are new to Jadu, or maybe this is your first academy, back in October 2023, we announced our mission to build and become the world's most digital platform. Obviously, it's an ambitious goal. You know, it's something that's going to take time and effort. Most importantly, it's something that keeps us focused and really ensures that accessibility is really at the core of everything we do. You know, it's never just a checkbox. It really is the difference between inclusion and exclusion for many people. So the updates I'm going to give you today largely feed into kind of supporting that mission. There's been so much work over the past year around accessibility. I can't cover everything, unfortunately. I think it's lunch next, so I don't think you'd want me to cover everything. So I'm going to give you a bit of a highlight reel, really, of just some of the key areas of interest that we've been working on. So talking about the front end of Jadu Central. So if you've got a Photon site, effectively this is Photon. So Jadu Central 3.4 contains literally hundreds of improvements to various areas, directories, document pages, news events, core widgets, and some of the Galaxy themes as well. So if you've got a Photon site, in most situations, these will kind of trickle down as you upgrade to your site. As always, you can kind of check the release notes or reach out to us for more information. But yeah, lots of work there. So last Academy, we talked about our ongoing technical accessibility audits of the control center. And this is something that's still ongoing. It's something that's going to be ongoing for a while. There's literally hundreds of UIs, different states, different components. But as we complete each phase, we're addressing any improvements that we can make. So you'll start to see these come in from Central 4. A lot of the improvements, or a lot of the improvements so far, haven't really been visual improvements. So you might not notice anything really changing. Sometimes you will. Sometimes you'll see slight visual differences. A lot of it's kind of under the hood, though. It's the code. It's kind of how the semantics of the code and how we communicate with assistive technologies. And a good example of that is the changes that we've made to the central search results page from Central 4. So some slight visual changes, nothing major, but a whole host of improvements to kind of keyboard accessibility, how we communicate in loading and filtering states to screen readers, smaller things like page title tweaks, all the way to kind of more complex things like focus management for modals and more complex components. So again, keep your eye on the release notes for more information, but these will be going out kind of indefinitely as we kind of work through the platform control center. So one of the features that I'm really excited to tell you about is Sally. So for quite a while, we've had an accessibility checker that exists on the preview mode of document pages and home pages, which ran some quite basic accessibility checks on the content on the pages. That's now been replaced with Sally. So Sally is quite a mature accessibility checker. It's open source, and it includes over 80 different content-related accessibility checks. So things like skipped heading levels, ambiguous link text, you know, tables. We see a lot of tables without designated headers, that type of thing. Works in exactly the same way. So once you've kind of built your document page or your home page, you can go into the preview mode. You'll see the icon at the bottom of the page. Give that a click, and it will draw your attention to various issues around the content. So really great way just to kind of capture content-related issues before publishing. So Sarah's just talked about Origin as well. Lots of work that's gone into this. So it's a new theme. It's going to be available for Galaxies soon. Another example, really, of building with accessibility at the core. So it's built on top of the W3C design system, so it's accessible, as you'd expect. But it's enhanced with many of our own best practices, some AAA requirements as well. And of course, built-in WCAG compliance, meets WCAG 2.2 AA. There are some AAA success criteria it meets as well. So, UK customers, yeah, it meets the requirements of PS Bar. US customers, things like ADA Title II and Section 508. As Sarah showed you as well, it's really customizable, and we're adding more customizable options going forward. But what's kind of important about that is sometimes accessibility can be impacted when you customize things. So it's really great at maintaining accessibility whilst being customizable. Obviously, we talked a lot about Agent X Search already. Just another example, really, of how accessibility is being considered at every stage throughout the full development lifecycle and is still being delivered. Yes, the UI aspect is, as you'd expect, WCAG conformant. We are aiming for AAA with this, but it's quite difficult due to, effectively, it's rendering your content. There are AAA requirements around content, etc. But where's appropriate, we're aiming for AAA. But there's so much more to it as well. As the video shown earlier, it's about reducing that cognitive load of signpost navigation, trying to find that thing that you want. It supports multiple languages. You can search by voice, can output the response as speech. Lots of work gone into that, and I think it really shows. So, yeah, really proud from the work across the team from the accessibility front. I'm all right for time. So, yeah, that was just a really quick tour of some of the highlights, some of the things that we've been focusing on. There's lots more as well. One of the things that I've really enjoyed this year is working with so many of our customers. So we provide training, accessibility audits, just general support when it comes to accessibility. And I can honestly say there's definitely been an increase in the amount of customers that are passionate about accessibility and are wanting to kind of implement change within their organisation. Just a quick reminder about the training and the audits that we offer. So accessibility training, obviously on the knowledge side, we can do basic kind of introduction to accessibility, touching on WCAG, regulations, how to craft accessible content, etc. But also on the more technical side, we can do sessions for developers that are code focused, looking at things like ARIA, JavaScript behavior, semantics, and much more. PDFs, they're a problem for everyone, so we can offer PDF remediation training. And on the compliance side, we've got audits as well. So technical accessibility audits against WCAG, against WCAG 2.2 AA, some AAA, and some best practices where relevant. You basically provide us with a list of pages for us to test. We test using assistive technology, and you get a clear, actionable report back with prioritised fixes. So if you're interested in these services, of course, just reach out. So one of the other things that we did this year for Global Accessibility Awareness Day and to kind of support customers was to run some clinics. So in case you're not familiar with GAD, with Global Accessibility Awareness Day, it's the third Thursday of every May. And it's really about just raising awareness on accessibility, gaining buy-in and everything else. And we sent an email out, we invited all our customers to book in for a clinic. The clinics were supposed to be half an hour, but many of them went over an hour. But we had some absolutely great conversations. So thank you to everyone that did attend. Really high uptake, lots of questions around specific things, so specific scenarios around WCAG conformance, PS bar exemptions, accessibility statements, but then kind of more on the cultural side as well, so how to start building an accessibility program, starting off a champions network, gaining buy-in, things like lunch and learn sessions. And what we're going to do, because the kind of wealth of information that came out of these, we're going to start blogging on these subjects and try and share those resources with all our customers. So yeah, I'm sure we'll be doing them again. Okay, kind of just switching it up a little bit now. So when we think about accessibility at Jadu, it's really easy to get kind of bogged down with the technical, the WCAG, the testing. But we really want to be your accessibility partner, your accessibility assistant, if you like. And if you think about the coverage, the Jadu coverage of accessibility, this is pretty much what it looks like. We supply your website, we build it as accessible as possible. We've got the control center, which we're making improvements to. We've got the content editor, which allows you to craft really accessible semantic content. Form builder, forms are quite a complex area of accessibility. Lots of requirements, and the form builder abstracts that down into quite a simple, easy-to-use UI. Then we've got things like Sally, which we've just talked about, which will allow you to capture those issues in kind of the preview mode, document pages, home pages. We integrate with things like Silk Tide, so you can track over time. On the knowledge side, we've got training, and on the compliance side, we've got audits. But over the course of this last year, I've spoken to so many customers, it's been really apparent that there's a gap. Content. So many customers have content teams which are really up on accessibility and are doing a great job. Some don't. It's really kind of a spread where the content's come in, how it's published. This is just a screenshot from one of our customers. I won't tell you who, but one of their Silk Tide index pages that shows a number of issues which are all content related. So you can have the most accessible website, but quite easily introduce content related accessibility issues. So you saw a sneak peek on the screenshots earlier on today, but really proud to kind of introduce Accessibility Assist, which is part of Jadu Assist. It's part of our browser extension, which it is very much still a beta. We're still adding features to it. We're really keen on any feedback that you can give us. What is Accessibility Assist? I'll show you in a second, but essentially it's another agent that you can run in the extension. You craft your content as normal. You can then run checks, which will analyze your content in the editor before you've even saved. You don't have to save it, you don't have to publish it. And then it will make, depending on the issue, it will make some intelligent suggestions based on the potential solution and the issue. But the author's in control. You don't have to go with what it's suggesting. I feel like I'm setting myself up here, but I'm going to go for a live demo, and I'm going to try and show you Accessibility Assist. So we've got some sample content there, various accessibility issues related to links. Pardon me. We've got a pasted in URL, lots of accessibility issues with that. We've got a linked URL, we've got some ambiguous link text, and then we've got a nicely worded link, however it opens a tab in a new window without warning the user. So if I click into Accessibility Assist, okay, so at the minute we've just got links checks, but we're going to be adding more to this around headings, tables, iframes, images. There's quite a list. And the idea really is that we're allowing you to catch the issue in the editor before you've saved, before you've published, before you have to use other tools to capture any issues. So please cross your fingers. Okay, so if I click check links, okay, we've got 4 issues. Great. So if I expand the first one, replace plain text URL with a descriptive link, it gives us some information about the actual issue, and then it lists all the issues in that category. So it's pulling up, as you can see, this paragraph of text at the top that contains that long plain text URL. It's suggesting us some link text. So what this is doing, it's using an agent to go off to the destination page, grab the page title, and kind of make an informed recommendation back to you. Of course, you can edit it, you can ignore it. I'm just going to trim the site name off there and hit change to link with new text, because of course at the minute it's not a link. There we go. And you can see at the top now, we've got a nice link to Jadu Assist. So just quickly stepping through the others then. Replace linked URL with descriptive link text. We've got some information about the link. We can see that the existing link text is google.com. It's pointing at google.com, and it's suggesting Google, which I'm happy with that. So I'm going to update that. We can see it's changed in the editor. Ensure link text is descriptive, so that's our nice click here. And it detects quite a lot of other ones, view more, read more, that type of thing. So again, it's gone off to that destination page. If for whatever reason it can't reach the destination page, for example, if it's behind kind of like authentication or something like that, it will try and deconstruct the URL and make kind of a good recommendation back to you on the link text. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to trim the site name off again and click Update Link Text. And then finally, warn users when a link opens a new tab. It can be quite jarring, especially to screen reader users, when you click on a link that pops up a document or leads to, fires up another browser window, a new tab, etc. So it's always a best practice, not a requirement, but a best practice to advise users of that behavior. As you can see there, it's added onto the end, opens in a new tab. Just going to trim that site name off and click Update Link Text. And that's it, really simple example just of a few different issues. We're going to be adding many, many more checks in around different content types, but the overall goal is for this to detect the issues as you're creating content. For the foreseeable, there'll probably be manual checks that you have to run, although eventually I imagine this will run in real time against your content as you're creating it, feeding back on any potential issues before you've even finished writing. And that's it.